Hello, Internet. Let's talk about Mezcal. So this is a sequel to the most disliked video I have made so far. A few months ago, last year, I reviewed the Vago Elote, um, which I found a bit too minty for my taste. This was an early bottle, and they may have changed the nature of it in the meantime. And I didn't give it a high score, and ended up proposing a cocktail with some cognac. So it was not well received. Um, but whatever. So I figured I owed the Vago folks another try with some other products of theirs. This one I bought myself. This was a Christmas present to me by my lovely wife, who loves me very very much, and who has also been enjoying this very uh, quite a bit. She's she's probably even more of a mezcal person than I am. So okay, here we go. But I also want to use the opportunity to talk a little bit about a comment I made in the Hamden DOK review that I did, to, concerning um, some things that Richard Seal said about rums and high ester rums and that kind of thing. So that's going to get a little nerdy. We'll hold off on that. Let's start off with some mezcal. Okay, so these are the Vago range. If you're watching this, you probably have some idea already. Involves different producers. They all have the same nom number, which is a bit odd. They're all nom 0188X, but they're all different producers in different areas, and that's kind of signaled by the different colors on the labels. This one is blue, and this one is red. These two, what are these guys in particular? This first one here is the Tio Rey from Sola de Vega. So this is Sola de, very famous town for making clay distilled mezcals. So stuff distilled not in copper or steel, but in basically clay pots in this sort of very complicated apparatus, which I won't go into. I will try to link up some details down below on that. So this is also the same place as the Alipus, distilled in clay. I forget what it was called. San Miguel, I think it was called, which I reviewed before. I will also link that up. This is the Ensemble en Barro by Tio Rey. This is the December 2019 batch. It is. It's always the contents are always a little bit different. So this is 63% Espadin, 24% Coyote, 8% Blanco, 5% Mexicano, hand ground, batch size 183 liters, and again clay distilled. So this is Mezcal Ancestral, which is the nerdiest category of mezcal, and it is not that expensive. This is about $70 a bottle, which is a bargain for clay distilled mezcal. So as a general rule, if you see an Ancestral priced under $100, it might be worth a serious look on your part, because these are very unique, characterful spirits that are generally become very expensive. All right, so I will move on to the Tobala here soon enough, but let's get started with the red label. All right, here we go. December 2019 batch again. Okay, initially it's very very dusty, very earthy, kind of like a dry dust thing, and very vegetal too. There's tons of green notes in this, which I like. I mean, you're getting that river clay note right up front. It's like this is something very common in clay distilled mezcals. They often have a very sort of slightly minerally river clay like note, as if you were in a pottery shop or something. But then behind it, there's like a vegetable stew thing. So celery, some bell peppers, different bell peppers, maybe some root vegetables in there, like some beets, maybe like one potato, two, more on beets probably. And then, but like these were like dirty vegetables. You never cleaned the dirt off of them after you dug them out of the ground, that kind of thing. So we're really on earth and clay and vegetable stuff. But you get behind that. There's also some other. There's some other things. There's It's very aromatic actually. Orange zest, some lemon zest too. Mainly orange zest though. Kind of aromatic smoke like herbal cigarettes. You know, I remember um, reading somewhere that the cigarette smoking man in the X Files wasn't actually smoking real cigarettes. He was smoking herbal cigarettes. So this is a little bit like, you know, the cigarette smoking man was making your mezcal in clay pots. Um, Aromatic tea, like a puer tea, like a very, you know, slightly funky tea. Um, and somewhere back there, like one Jolly Rancher, just a little ding of candy apple, and some coffee beans, um, maybe like Yemeni, like Yemen coffee beans, mocha. On the palate, yeah. Oh, that's good. Uh, it's really on the mouthfeel, on the palate, and particularly on the mouthfeel, where these clay distilled mezcals really prove their value. This is extremely creamy, extremely mouth filling. Like this is all over my mouth in a nice way. Very long, just finish that lasts forever. Um, on lots of spices, there's some cinnamon in there. There's kind of, um, but also like a hot pepper thing. Um, Cocoa, but not like without the chocolate aspect, like cocoa fat, like cocoa oil. Um, Also some coconut in there, um, and like coconut milk maybe. And then like just agave syrup, straight up agave. More citric in the front. There's some, but it's quite sweet too. There's a nice natural sweetness. So it's really more like Mayer lemon than sort of regular sort of sour lemon. Um, it's kind of dirty too, like topsoil. Um, that puer tea note again. Little aromatic smoke again. Like as if you'd like hardwood smoked your topsoil. With oh, what would you smoke your topsoil? Like maple wood. You smoked your topsoil with maple wood. I don't ask me where I got that from. Um, a little bit of like a fresh garden mint thing too. Like especially on the back end. Um, it kind of comes through. Just a nice cooling note. Oh, and clay. Lots of clay covering my whole mouth. Little flake tobacco. Little you know, throw a little Latakia in there. Like there's a German flake tobacco, which I can't remember the name of, which is mostly Virginia, but has a little Latakia in there. That's kind of what this is. Um, so I'm gonna give this. This is really nice. I'm gonna give this a couple squirts of water, maybe like two, because it is. Oh, I never mentioned the proof on this. This is 52, I think. Yeah, 52 flat alcohol, percentage wise. So I'm gonna see if this is right. That's close enough to, you know, comfortable drinking strength. And we move on uh, to our Tobala. Tobala, very famous agave, very small. Um, I don't know exactly. So the name is agave potatorum, which I'm guessing is refers to the size, that they're not, you know, they're not huge, but they're very flavorful, tend to be very spicy, uh, and yeah, they're some of the most sought after mezcals in the world. This one is from uh, Emigdio Jarquin. I'm not pronouncing any of these things correctly, but whatever. Where is this? In Nanche Miahuatlan, which is basically to the right to the east of Sola de Vega. So more to the southeast of the city of Oaxaca this time. 100% Tobala, stone ground, copper still this time, so we're getting a little more traditional. 770 liter batch, a little bit bigger. This was distilled April 2019, and of course it is a Mezcal Artesanal, which is your mark of quality. If you are buying a Mezcal in the store and it does not say Artesanal and it does not say Ancestral, walk past it, go buy something else, because the Mexican government has done you a favor by allowing only those mezcals which meet the specific standards of traditionalness to get those kinds of labels. So look out for those. Anything else? Proof wise, this is a little bit weaker, 50.6% alcohol. All right, what do we got here? So again, I typically associate Tobala with a very upfront aggression, very spicy nature, which is not here at all. This smells like strawberry bubblegum. I don't know if you remember, like when you were a kid, all the sort of fruity bubblegums. I used to love those. Actually, no, it's not just strawberry. It is all the fruity bubblegums. So like berry fruity bubblegum. It's very clean. It's very it's extremely fruity. But it's still a little bit spicy. There's a little there's some white pepper going on there. There's some cardamom, clove, some old tea bags, but nice. These are sort of used tea bags that are a little bit attractive to me for some reason. And like a note which I can only describe as smoked celery. I've gotten this in Mezcal before, and I really like it. Very mineral driven too, along with the fruitiness. There's some like crushed stone, and like also some like stone fruit for that matter. As long as I'm thinking of stones, some nectarine, maybe like smoked nectarine. Like you kept a nectarine in a cigar shop for a week or two. But it's not. It really isn't. No, I'm going to take that back. Like it isn't really cigar smoke. This is more fruit smoke. This fruity hardwood smoke. There's a little bit of a floral touch in here. Like smoky flowers. Don't ask me to explain that. Very waxy too. There's an intense wax kind of note to this on the nose. On the palate. Mm-hmm. That's where the smoke was hiding. Much more smoky on the palate. Ooh. So it's really a mingling of smoke and that intense sort of wacky fruitiness. So think like the ash from expensive cigarettes, like the ones that the upper class college students smoke. Some pink peppercorns in there. Some like just crushed flowers. Just take some field flowers and crush them in your hands and put them in your mouth. That's kind of what this tastes like. But really, really dominated by the sort of expensive cigarette thing. But there's still that bubblegum thing. Lychee fruit, some potpourri, a little pear. What is that? I want to say banana. It's not really banana. It's more like a kind of a plantain note. Just like raw plantain. Tons of minerality though. The rocks are here and they are out to do some damage. That is so good. I mean, the fruit here is just beautiful and out of control, and to my mind, not in keeping with what I expect from Tobala, but I absolutely adore it. Oh, that's lovely. There's a little bit of forest honey note, the sort of slightly bitter, slightly sour, heavy honey that bees make when they kind of can't find normal flowers to use for, nourishment and stuff. And then there's also that smoked celery thing going on. Um, yeah, this is really good too. And the finish just lasts forever. That sort of smoky, ashy, peppercorny thing just hangs on all through my mouth. No clay this time. It's a little bit cleaner than that, but yeah, these are good. These are good, man. All right, I'm gonna give this a squirt of water too, and we'll move back to the red label. Just a little bit. All right, let's see if that's right. I'm on point with the water today. That is pretty close. Okay. So back to the Ensemble and Barro, as I say as an American. Okay. With a little bit of water this time and a little bit of time to develop. Okay, very interesting. This completely changed. Well, not completely, but I mean, this has really become a little bit of a baijiu now. No, that's not true. It doesn't have like the cheesy notes that I associate with that, but that citric element, which was there before, has just been turned up to like 11. Yeah, no cheese, but there is an intense lemony brightness now, which I love. Some on the nose. Some sea spray, like a little bit of just throw some, some sea air in there. A little sandstone too. Clay is still very dominant. That puer note is still there. And something a little bit metallic, like I'm nosing along with a lemon thing, like a handful of loose change. Or like I just opened up the cash register and just stuck my nose in there. That's kind of what I'm smelling. This is really lovely. It's very, very earthy, very driven by sours and, vegetable note and rocks. Not, this is not sort of sweet smelling and nice at all. And I love it. On the palate, okay, I was saying a minute ago, this was not sweet, and it is on the nose, but on the palate, it actually kind of brings it out with a little bit of water. There's much more of a kind of sweet and sour element at play now, like a lemon candy thing, which is really like a lemon drop thing, which is really nice. More clay, just not even like formed clay, just like river dust, like dried river dust. Some aromatic pipe smoke, like I don't know, like a really expensive, pipe tobacco. That's that. Don't ask me to get more specific than that. Pipe smoke, ooh, and black pepper. Very serious on the black pepper. Still very mouth-filling. Very long finish. Extremely well made. This is not the most complex clay distilled mezcal I've ever had, but for the price they're asking, man, this is a little bit of a steal. This is a little bit of value. I'm gonna give this 87 points out of 100, and also it's like red, which by Gundam rules means it's 3 times as effective as normal mezcals. So there's that. 87 points out of 100 for Tio Rey's Ensemble. Very well done. I like this a lot. All right, but let's move on to the Tobala. See what that did with a little bit of water. Okay, we're back to the Tobala. On the nose, I'm getting lychee fruit for days. Yeah, just a pile of freshly cracked open lychee fruit just fell directly onto my nose. But alongside that, there's like a lot of just the smoke has come out too, which this happens a lot when you add some water or something that's been smoked prior to distillation. The smoke really comes out with a little drop of water, like just old engine smoke. Like you had a car from like the 50s, and you turned it on and it hadn't been turned on for like a couple decades, and just like a big cloud of smoke came out of the exhaust pipe and landed for some reason in a pile of lychee fruit. That's kind of what I'm smelling. There's also like a weird kind of like fresh newspaper note. Like you just pulled a copy of the Times out of its little sheet and just took a big whiff. But really, but nice. Rocks, dust, kind of a slice of fruitcake in there too. Really nice nose. Lots of things going on. I mean, but so much softer than I expect. A Tobala to be. So here we go on the palate. Oh. So the main effect of water. Oh. All right, these were kind of neck and neck, and now the Tobala just pulled ahead. The main effect of the water is to extend the finish and kind of amplify it a lot. And there's like a lovely cooling menthol note that comes out with a little bit of water. Oh, that's really nice. There's a nice peppery, earthy thing coming through. But really, it's still that thing from before, the sort of expensive cigarettes and lychee fruit and bubble gum and rocks and like the pepper thing. This is great. Elegant, very complex, very well put together. This is one of those examples where I really feel like the folks who don't add just a squirt of water to their spirits, sometimes it doesn't make a difference. But in this case, in actually both these cases, it really does. And particularly with this one. Again, it's not about watering it down, it's about waking it up. That made all the difference. I'm going to give this 88 points out of 100. This is extremely good. And it is more expensive, but I mean, in the world of Tobala and Mezcal more generally, this is still probably a little bit of a value. And more importantly than that, it's a little bit of a unique in that it's such a delightful, fruity, lighthearted expression of the agave. So that's kind of what I got. 87 points for the Tio Rey. 88 points for this blue label by Emigdio. All right, so I did want to make one last note. By the way, if you just wanted the review, you can turn it off at this point because I'm just going to be babbling. When I talked about the Hamden, the DOK, the highest mark that Hamden estate in Jamaica makes, I referred to a piece by Richard Seal, basically sort of objecting to people drinking such stuff because it was basically made as a flavoring agent using some fairly crazy production methods. And I think I said something in response to that, well, that can all be true, but at the end of the day, what we have to do is to judge, how these things behave in the glass. And part of me has been sitting a little bit uncomfortable with that idea. Because I'm going to get a little nerdy here. There's a very famous quote by Derrida in Grammatology. Don't get scared. I'm not going to get too French here. Where he says he's going to make a justification of his method of reading. And he makes, in the context of that, a very famous quotation, there is nothing outside of the text. And I think initially, people are getting better, but back in the day, I think this was often taken to be the old sort of new critical point that if you're reading a text, you can't bring in outside information. The social conditions, the biography of the author don't matter. It's just the information inside the bounds of the book that is the only sort of legitimate space to use to talk about what's going on in the book. And of course, that's not wrong. Of course, it can be valid to talk about the context and where the thing is coming from. But and Derrida makes that point. Like you should not just be kind of trying to reproduce the text or whatever. But there's another side to that, which the other side to that is equally flawed, which is to say that there's some kind of exterior point of view, say just looking at the production method and the intentions behind a rum, say, and trying to judge it entirely from that, without looking at how it behaves in the glass. That is also mistaken, because they're both mistaken in the same way, and they're looking for some single point, which is the right point of reference for judging, a text and to read a text, or in this case, to read a rum, to taste a rum, or to taste a mezcal, for that matter. And the point is, no, there is nothing outside the text, or in this case, there's nothing outside the glass. That doesn't mean we rule out all that information. It means all that information is already at play inside the glass. And I think that's particularly true here. Yes, it's absolutely true that this was clay distilled and this was copper distilled. But those aren't just kind of exterior facts. Those are at play inside the glass. I can, they show up there in a certain distinctive way. They make themselves manifest in the effect. In a way, I am inside the glass just as much, and so are you, dear viewer. You are playing your own part in this whole event of the spirit kind of manifesting itself in this tasting event. The point being that there's all of these things can interact with each other, can be legitimate points of consideration for talking about a thing and understanding it and appreciating it. And there's no sort of one point which ends the dialogue or which grounds the dialogue or, that one can securely rely upon. It's the discussion never ends. So that is just part of that is to say that, I think Richard Seale is wrong on this, but it's also to say that, you don't have to sort of ask yourself the question of, do I bring in exterior factors to judging what's going on in the glass when I do reviews or whatever? Because they're already there. The production method, if it matters, is already showing up when you nose this stuff and you taste this stuff. And the only thing that sort of going and reading a book or the Wikipedia's entry is helping you articulate that presence a little bit better. This is where blind tastings can come in as both a very useful exercise to do, and also a little bit of a hindrance, because often you can't quite understand what the hell you're tasting and whether it's a good thing or not, because you don't have sort of the understanding of the context and everything going into it. Anyways, I'm babbling a little bit here, but I do think going back and reading obscure French texts from the 60s can be occasionally useful for the purposes of tasting and judging spirits. So there you go. There's nothing outside the glass. My wife is above all in this little bottle of Tobala because I love her, and probably, it's fantastic mezcal besides, but that probably makes this bottle a little bit special for me. That's all I got, and thanks for watching, and cheers.